Welcome back to my channel. Today we will take up the part 5 of the release strategy of purchasing documents. Here we will create and test a release strategy for contracts. In the previous videos we had seen the overview of the release strategy of purchasing documents, which was in part 1, and in the part 2 we had created and tested a release strategy for item wise release of purchase acquisition, and in part 2 we had created and tested overall release of purchase acquisition, and in part 4 we had created and tested a release strategy for purchase order. Now we will create and test a release strategy of contract. We know very well that the purpose of the release procedure is to prevent the printout or transmission of the documents to the vendors. External purchasing documents are released at header level only, we know very well, and item wise release is not possible for external purchasing documents, either it is purchase order or contract or scheduling agreement. Okay, and further, for external purchasing documents we can use only the release procedure with classification. Okay, this one we know very well. Now we will create a release strategy for a contract with the business requirements. So the business or the client has given the requirement that the contract, okay, will be released by 3 people. First one is purchase manager, second is plant manager, and finally general manager. The release codes, right? So we have given the names as E1, E2, and E3. You can give any names as you like. And as per the business, they have given these characteristics. Like, this purchasing document category for contract will be, of course, K. Then plant 9110. This release strategy will be applicable to only this plant 9110. Then purchasing organization IN01, purchasing group M01, and total net order value of the contract will be between 1 lakh rupees to 1,50,000 rupees. Okay. The reason for any order value less than 1 lakh rupees, client do not want any control on the contract. Okay, this is the reason. Okay, any order, any contract, you can just hear any contract with order value less than 1 lakh rupees. Okay, client do not want any control on the contract. Means procurement department can create contract up to rupees 99,999 without any approval. Okay, and that is, that can directly be printed and sent to the vendor. Only if the value of the contract is from 1 lakh to 1,50,000, they want it to be approved by these 3 people. Okay, that is the business requirement. Okay, now what we will do, we will do the configuration. We will create the release strategy, and also we will, after creating it, we will test the release strategy. Okay, and first of all, we will see, how the release strategy is created. Okay, the creation of the release strategy involves 3 steps. First step is we have to create the characteristics. Second, create the clause for the release strategy of the contract. Third one is create the release strategy. And here in the step 3, the creation of the release strategy involves 4 steps. First step is create the release group. Second step, create the release codes. Third step, create the release indicator. And finally, create the release strategy. Okay, so now we will do one thing. We will take up one by one. First, we will take up the first step, create the characteristics for the release strategy. Okay, so here, before we do any configuration, we have to make one table actually here. Okay, what are the characteristics we are going to create? Okay, and how we are going to name them. Okay, so for this just order document category, I have given the name as FRG underscore EKKO underscore BSTYP. For plant, I have given it as ending with WRKS. Purchasing organization, same ending with EKORG. For purchasing group, ending with EKGRP. And for total net order value of the purchase order, ending with GNETW underscore INR. You can give any name for the characteristics as you like. Okay, first we will create the characteristics here. Okay, let me go to the configuration here. We know very well, right? This is the configuration path. Okay, in SPRO, material management, purchasing, purchase order, release procedure for purchase order, edit characteristics. Here, what are the characteristics? The first characteristic is FRG EKK underscore BSTYP. Okay, see, when we have to create the characteristic, I will tell you what you have to do. For example, okay, you have to give some name. Okay, you give any name as you like here. Okay, then click on create. Okay, then what you have to do, you have to immediately go to the additional data tab page here. Then here you have to input the table name and field name. And further, to create the characteristic, right, for the external purchasing documents, whether it is purchase order or contract or scheduling agreement, we have to take the fields from the one table CEKKO, SECO. Okay. How to display the table? You have to go to S11 transaction code. I am in S11. Here, put the database table CEKKO and click on display. Here we can see all the fields. Okay. Fields and descriptions for the characteristics. Okay. That we can use here. The first one is purchasing document category, which is BSTYP, the field. And here it is data type is character format and length is only one. It is only one length. For purchase order it is K. Purchase order it is F. Contract it is K, and scheduling agreement it is L. Okay, this is purchasing document category. Next is purchase organization. Here, this is the one. Next, the field is EKORG. Purchasing group. Here, purchasing group. The field is EKGRP. Then scroll down. Plant. For plant, it is WERKS. And the last one is total net order value. For this, the field is GNETW. Okay, these are the fields we have to use actually. Okay, we have to use. Okay, here I will create the characteristic for purchase document category here. Okay, what I am going to do immediately, after I input the name here, we have to click on create. Then we have to immediately come to additional data. Don't put anything in the basic data. Okay, why I will tell you. Input table name CEKKO and the field name BSTVP and just press enter. You will get this pop-up. Format data taken from above dictionary. Click continue. As soon as you continue here, you will come to this basic data, and here the system automatically captures the description and this data type character format and the number of characters. Automatically it will capture from this table CEKKO. See here. From this, okay, let me show you. Purchase document category, right? We have creating characteristic here. See here, I just put the field here. Okay, it has gone to this table, and here the data type is character format. We can see here, right? Character format, and the number of characters is 1. Okay, we can see here. So automatically it will capture 1. Okay. After that one, then you have to go to and further in the basic data, you have to select multiple values. Always you have to select multiple values. Okay. So then, because the advantage is, we can use, multiple values for that, whatever the characteristic we are going to create. Okay. Then restrictions here. Click on restrictions, and here the class type will be standard class type for release strategy is 032. Okay. So these are the 3 steps to create a characteristic. What first step is give some name. In the additional data, input the table name as CKKO and field name as BSTYP and enter. The program will automatically capture the description, data type, and number of automatically. And in the restrictions, put the class type and save. That's all. Okay. But I'm not going to show because, I already have, this characteristic, FRG underscore EKKO underscore BSTYP. Okay, already here it is created actually. I just showed you how to create a new characteristic. Okay, now it is very clear to you how to create a characteristic. I am going to display. Okay, I already had created this one. How I had created? I input the table name, field name, press enter. Automatically, system has captured this purchase document category, character format, data, and number of characters 1. I had selected this multiple values, and in restrictions I had put this class type 032 and save. That's all. Okay, so that is done. First characteristic. Second characteristic also, I had created in the same way. So this name is FRG underscore EKKO underscore works, which is plant. Let me go to the SAP screen here. WERKS. WERK. Let me put here. KS. Works. Display. Okay, see here. How I had created, I had gone to addition. I had given this name In the additional data, I had the table CEKKO, field name WERKS, press enter. Automatically, system had captured description as plant and data type character format, number of characters 4. Okay, because a standard recipe, the number of characters for a plant is always 4. And I had selected multiple values. And in the restrictions, I had given this class type as 032. So plant is also done. Next is purchasing organization. Okay, FRG, EKKO, EKORG. Okay, next is purchasing organization, EKORG. Here, click on display. Okay, here I had put the field as EKORG, press enter. Here, the description captured by system is purchasing organization. Data type is character format, and number of characters is also 4. And multiple values, it is multiple selection. Okay, because again I will show you in the data dictionary here for purchasing organization. Okay, let us see here. Purchasing organization here. Okay, EKORG. And here if you see here, the data type is character format and the number of characters is 4. Okay, it will capture from this table automatically. Okay, so that is also done. Then the next is purchasing group, which is EKGRP. Click here, display. Okay, here the field is EKGRP, enter. Okay, the system had automatically captured the description as purchasing group and data type character format, and number of characters is 3. For purchasing group in standard recipe, the number of characters is always 3. We can see here. Okay, this is the purchasing group. We can see it is 3. Okay, character format. Okay, then which is the last uh, characteristic, total net order value. Okay, I had given the name of the contract, total net order value of contract. Okay, so I had given the name as FRG EKKO GNETW underscore INR. Okay, so let me go to that characteristics screen, GN underscore GNETW underscore INR. Click on create. Here, I had just put the field name GNETW and table name and press enter. System had automatically updated the description total net order value. Then here the data type is currency format. Okay, and the number of characters 15 and the decimal places is 2. Okay, and here only the thing is we have to enter the currency, that's all. Okay, and any characteristic for total order value, we have to select multiple values as well as interval values allowed. Okay, so let me take you to this table here. Let me scroll down. Total net order value. See here. Here you can see here, right? Total net order value. Here the data type is currency format. You can see here currency format, and the number of characters is 15. Okay, so decimal places is 2. So everything it will capture from this table. Okay, the only thing is you have to just give the name, and in the additional data put the table name CEKKO and field name and enter. It will automatically capture everything. Okay, nothing to enter here in the basic data page. Okay, the only thing you have to do is select multiple values and also interval values allowed. Why we have to select interval values allowed? Because we can use some range of the total order value, like 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh rupees to 50,000, 50,000, 1 lakh 50,000 to 2 lakh, 2 lakh to 3 lakh, like that. We can use some intervals. That is the reason we have to select this interval value allowed, because for the total net order value, because we can also use some range of the value actually in some interval. Okay, of course in the restrictions it is 032. Okay, so the characteristics is done. The first step is done. Okay, the second step is create class for the release strategy of the contract. So here I have given the name of the class as FRG EKKO underscore PO. Let me go to the class. Okay, so edit class here, FRG EKKO underscore here PO. Okay, 032. Click on display. Okay, we can use the same class actually here. Okay, if you want we can name it as any other thing, okay, as you like, but here I have given this name actually. Okay, so here in this class, right, what we have to do, we have to give the name of the class, then give some description here in the basic data, then immediately in the characteristics, right, we have to add all the characteristics in the names, okay, which we have created. Okay, I will do one thing. I will show you how to create a class. For example, here, new. Okay, for example, here, I am going to create this class. Okay, when I are going to create this class, okay, so in the first step is in the basic data, you have to give the description. Okay, like, class for external purchasing documents. Okay, then here in the characteristics here, we have to add all the characteristics here, like, one by one. For example, the first one is purchasing document type. Okay, BS type BP. Okay, purchasing document category. Then the second is plant. Okay, it will capture everything. Then purchasing organization, then purchasing group, EKGRP, then total net order value. Okay, this one, all we have to add here. The system will automatically copy the description as well as the data type and also the number of characters and everything, decimal places, everything. For the total order value of the contract, okay, the data type is currency format and the number of characters 15 and the decimal places is 2 and currency is the INR. It will, all these, values, it will capture from the characteristics and you have to save. Okay, this is how I had created a class actually. My name was FRG underscore EKK underscore PO. So how I had created, just put the name here. In the basic data, I had given the some description, and in the characteristics, right, I had input all the 5 characteristics, okay, for my release strategy and saved. Okay, so class is also created. Okay, next, the third step is create the release strategy. Okay, so what is the steps to create the release strategy? Here, it is having 4 steps. We have to create the release group, then we have to create the release codes, then create the release indicator, and create the release strategy. Okay, so first we will create the release group. Okay, this is coming under the create the release strategy for the contract. Okay, so let us go to the configuration path here. Here, back. Okay, here, go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG, go to material management, purchasing, here, purchasing, contract. Okay, we have to go for contract. Here, release procedure for contract. Expand this one. Here, define release procedure for contract. Here, the first step will be to create the release groups. Create the release group. Double click on the release group. Okay. So here, first thing is, we have to create the release group. Okay, this is the release group we had created for purchase order, which you have already seen in the part 4. Okay, that is in the previous video. Now we will create this release group for the contract. What is the release group we are calling for the contract is S1. S1. Okay, so all these things, right, whatever the things we have to create, right, we have to prepare in the form of some table here like this. What is the release group? Okay, what are the release codes? What is the name of the release strategy? Everything, we have to this one, right, write it and prepare in a document. Okay, so we will create the release group C1 here. Go for new entries C1. Okay, and the class is FRG underscore PO. Okay, and description will be release group contracts. Okay, contracts. Okay, if you want to create another release group with another value of the contract, okay, you can create another group. Okay, so in that case you call it as release group for contract. Okay, contract 1. Okay, if you want to create another release group for another range like 2 lakh to 3 lakh rupees, you create C2 and create release group 2 like that. Okay, but here, our requirement is to create, okay, one release group for this contract. Okay, so I can give the name here, contract, and save. You will get the TR number, request number. Okay, data was saved. The first step is done. Go back here. Once you come back here, you can see the release group for the contract here. Okay, back. Now release codes. Double click on the release codes. Okay. So here, let me go to my document. We have to create the release codes E1, E2, E3. E1 is purchase manager, E2 is plant manager, and E3 is general manager. Let me go back to SAP. New entries. C1. Group is C1. Here the release code is, first release code is E1. E1 is purchase manager. Then C1. The group is C1 only. The next release code is E2. The next release plant manager. Okay, second person plant manager. Then the highest one is general manager. Okay, release group is same C1. Release code is E3, and the last one is general manager. Enter and save. Continue. This is the transport request number. Okay, continue. Back. Okay. Once you go back, right, you can see the release group for the contract as well as the release codes. Okay. Then back. Now we have to create the release indicators. Double click on the release indicator here. See, in standard SAP, we can see, some three release indicators. The first one is B, which is for block. Okay, block. That means before the contract is released, right, the release indicator or the status of the contract will be blocked. After it is released, okay, it can have this indicator as G or R. Okay, so G means here, R means once the contract is released, right, we cannot make any changes, no changes possible. Okay, if the indicator of releasing the contract is G, then we can make some minor changes, okay, somewhere in the contract. So always, it is better, if you use this indicator G. So here we will use the standard, this release indicators only. Okay, because before the contract is released, right, it will always be in block state. Okay, and also once it is released, right, then it is released. It can be sent to the vendor for the procurement of the materials as per the contract. Okay, we will use the same indicators here. Okay, so here, if there is one more thing here, so here it is released, no changes. Why? Because here, you can see one column changeable here. If you F4 here, one means cannot be changed. Okay, that is the reason release no changes. You can see here. Two means changeable. Two means changeable. Four means also changeable. Okay, so here we will keep it as it is. Okay, these things, these are standard from SAP, and we will keep as it is. And for our purpose, right, we will use the release indicators B for block and G for release. Okay, so these standard indicators only we will use. No need to create any new indicator because they are more take up the fourth step of the creation of the release strategy. Okay, here the name of the release strategy we will give it as C. Okay, we will go to our SAP screen, SPRO screen. Here, double click on the release strategies. This is the fourth and final step of the creation of the release strategy here. Click on new entries here. Give the release group C1 and the release codes. Okay, and the release strategy name will be C. Okay, group is C1 and the strategy name is C. We will keep it as C. Okay, we can give any name actually if you want. I have given it as C1, and here the name will be C, release strategy. C, and I will name it as release strategy contract. Okay, and here the release codes I am going to use are E1, E2, and E3. E3. Okay, enter. Okay, so here the system has captured a description from the previous step actually. So after giving the release group and this name of the release strategy as CE and some description and inputting the release codes, you will get everything here. Okay, now here the first step here, to complete the creation of the release strategy, here we can see here the release prerequisites, release statuses, and classification. Okay, the first thing you have to click on release prerequisites. This is the first step of this creation of the release strategy. In the when we are actually creating the release strategy, this is the first step actually here. Okay. Here what we have to do? Here, what are the prerequisites here? Here you can see here E2. E2 is plant manager. Okay. For the contract to be released by E2, E1 should release it. Okay. So here we have to check this one. If you check this one here, then above this checkbox here, this E1 is the prerequisite. That means here, when E1 has released the contract, then only E2 can release it. That is the meaning here. Then the E3, who is general manager. So for general manager to release the contract, the prerequisite is E1 and E2 should release it. So E1, check E1 and check E2. Okay, here for the in the horizontal line of E3. Okay, so now it is very clear here. For E2 to release it, E1 should release it. For E3 to release the contract, E1 and E2 should release it. Okay, because both are checked here. Continue. Then release status here. Here, these are the release indicators. Okay. In the first row, we can see E1, E2, and E3. Nothing is checked here. That means no release code has released the contract. Hence, it will be B blocked. Here in the second row, we can see E1 has released it, checked. It is again still blocked. In the third row, only E1 and E2 have released the contract, still it is blocked. And in the fourth row, we can see all the three release codes, E1, E2, and E3 have released it. And now the contract is in status release, or the release indicator of the contract will be G, which is released. Okay, click continue. Okay, then here classification. This is the most important, part here in the creation of the release strategy here. So here what we had to do, we had to give the values of the characteristics here. Okay, here the purchasing document category. Here we have already documented everything, right? Here, let me go here. The purchasing document category for contract will be K. Okay, we can also get it here. Okay, just click here F4, F4 here. Here you should F4 here. Then here we can see the purchase document category of different purchasing document. For purchase order it is F. Okay, for contract it is K. For schedule agreement it is L. Okay, in my previous video on the release strategy for contract, for release strategy of purchase order, I had used the purchasing document category as F. F. Okay, now for contract, I will select it as K. Here, select K. Just check here and continue. Automatically it will capture it. Okay. Then plant is 9110. Purchasing organization is IN01. Purchasing group is M01. And total net order value. What is the total net order value? It is between 1 lakh to 1,50,000 rupees here. We can see here. Okay, so here, we will input that value here. So how? Because, in the characteristic, we had already added that value here. We can directly, copy there. If we just F4 here, you will get this 1 lakh to 1,50,000 rupees. Okay. Or if you have not maintained that value in the characteristic, here also you can directly give here. Okay. Here you put 100,000 space hyphen space 150,000 and enter. Okay, automatically the system will capture this value. Okay, INR everything, because it will capture from the characteristic. Okay, either you can input here or you can capture here, select here. See here, I will select, let us, I will make it blank. I will F4, select this one, 1 lakh to 1,50,000 and click continue. It will automatically capture. Okay, so here after inputting the values of the characteristics here, go back and save. Now you will get this TR request and continue. Okay, now the creation of the list strategy is complete. We also got the data was saved here, message here. So the creation or the configuration of the release strategy is complete. Now we have to do the testing here. So before we test here, there is one button here called release simulation. We'll click here. Here, we can see the release codes for the contract E1, E2, and E3. And here, we will simulate the release. Click on simulate release. This box will open. Here, E1, you can see release possible. Okay, E1 can release the contract. Here, still it is blocked. Okay, when nobody has released the contract, the release indicator will be black. Okay, now we will release from E1. Double click on E1. So E1 has released it. So now release is possible by E2. Okay, double click on E2. So E2 has released it. Okay, still the release indicator or the status of the contract is black. Now, after E1 and E2 we have released it, E3 can finally release the contract. We can see here release possible by E3. Double click on E3. Now the release indicator of the contract or status of the contract has changed to released. Okay. So close this boxes here. So simulation everything is complete. Go back and close this window. And now we will test the release strategy of the contract. How we will test? We will create the here, see, for testing the any release strategy, we had to do both positive and negative test. In the positive test, we will create a contract for this plant purchasing organization, purchasing group, okay, and see that the total amount of the contract is from 1 lakh to 1,50,000 rupees. Means it should be above 1 lakh rupees something. Okay, if the total order value of the contract is more than 1 lakh rupees, then that contract should be subject to the release strategy. Okay, and that is called the positive test. Okay, the test will be successful only if the contract is subject to the release strategy, and that contract having a value above 1 lakh to 1,50,000. And negative test also we will do. And how to do negative test? We will create a contract, okay, whose value is less than 1 lakh rupees, like 99,999, anything. Okay, even 1 rupee less than 1 lakh rupees. Okay, that should not be subject to the release strategy. That is called negative test here. And for testing, we can use any, vendor material. Okay, okay, which we want to use. Okay, now what we will do. We will create a contract and test the same. Actually, we will do both positive and negative test. And the transaction code to create a contract is ME31K. Okay, I will make it as contract, and the transaction code to release a contract is ME35K. Okay, now we will create a contract. We will go to SAP screen. Let us open a screen, new screen here. Okay, here put the transaction code ME31K, enter. So here we will use enter 50001, and the agreement type here we will use it as a value contract WK. We can select here either quantity contract or value contract. We will select here as a value contract. Okay, then purchasing organization IN01, which you have seen in the characteristics, right? Purchasing group M01, and plant is 9110. Because these values, right, we have already seen here. Okay, in the characteristics. When we had created the characteristics, okay, so we had all these things here. 9110, plant, purchasing group, okay, purchasing organization, okay, purchasing group, all, we already, have seen there actually. That already, we know that is a business requirement for which the early strategy should work. Okay, after inputting this one, press enter. Then this screen will come. Here, enter the validity end. Let us say should be 30 April 2026. Okay, next year. Okay, April. Okay, like this. Then enter target value. It is asking. Okay, since this contract should be more than 1 lakh rupees. Okay, we will put anything. Okay, the limit we can put anything 1,10,000, 1,20,000. It is up to us. Okay, it is up to us actually. Okay, target value. Okay, enter. Then here we have to input the material number R-10001. Then here target quantity. Okay, now what is the price of this material one piece? Here we can see here one piece is 6,000 rupees. So if you make it as 6,000, um, it should be more than 1 lakh rupees. Okay, we will make it as 17 or 18. Okay, let us see. We'll put it as 17 pieces here. 17 pieces, and the price also you have to put here 6,000. 6,000. Okay, I will just put the quantity and let us see. Okay, price 6,000. Okay, enter here. For the contract, we are giving price of 6,000. Okay, now into 6. How much that will be? Let us calculate it. 17 into 6, that is equal to 1,02,000. Okay. 17 into 6,000. 1,02,000 means it is more than 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Now this contract should be subject to the release strategy here. Okay. So now what we will do? We will here click on the release strategy here tab. Okay. Here. So I think that is we have not saved it actually. Okay. So we have to go back here. Okay. Save the document. Yes. This contract is created 46000109. Now we will display this contract. Outline agreement display. Enter here. Now if we click here on the release strategy, we can see here that this contract is subject to the release strategy. Okay, what is the release ID of the contract? It is block. Okay, and the release codes are E1, E2, and E3. Okay, so that means here, since the total value of the contract, right, is that is more than 1 lakh rupees. Okay, and also if you go to the item here, 17 into 6, okay, the value is coming to 1,02,000. Okay, so this, since the value of the contract is more than 1 lakh rupees, right, this contract is subject to the release strategy. Okay, hence this our positive test is successful actually. Okay, here test is successful, or it is, you can make it as PSS pass and make it as green here, green. Okay, and here we will record the contract number. So here, what is the contract number? Okay, now we will do the negative test here. Okay, we will create another contract. Okay, for which the total value of the contract is less than 1 lakh rupees. Okay, what we will do? We will back, and we will create a new contract, ME31K. Okay, put the vendor 50001. Okay, so agreement type WK, purchasing organization, purchasing group. Okay, and plant everything. Okay, as usual. Press enter. Okay, here put the validity and same and the target value. For example, okay, let us say the target value is 99,999. Okay, means less than 1 lakh rupees, 99,999. Okay, enter. Input the material number, target quantity. Okay, what is the target quantity? We will put, it should be less than 1 lakh. Okay, 16. If you put the quantity, the total amount will be less than 1 lakh, which is 96,000. Okay, so we'll put the quantity as 16, and the net price here 6,000. Enter. Okay, now click on save. Here the contract is created, 4600 ending with 110. Now we will display this contract and see if this contract is subject to release strategy. Click on outline agreement display. You will get the same contract number by default. Enter. Here we can see this contract, and here if we click on this release strategy here button, we can see purchasing document is not subject to release strategy. Okay, but why? Because if you go to the header here, we can see that the target value is less than 1 lakh rupees. Okay, 99, even just 1 lakh, 1 rupee less than the target value, which is target value of the contract is from 1 lakh to 1,50,000. But since the total target value of the contract is less than 1 lakh rupees, okay, this contract is not subject to any release strategy. That means the negative test is also successful here. So here, input the value of the contract here. Note down this value of the contract. I will input here. Okay, sorry, 110, right? Sorry, 110, 110, and here this is also passed. now highlighted in green color because it is successful. Okay, so this will complete the creation and testing of a release strategy for contract. Okay, thank you for watching my video, and we will meet in the next video with another interesting topic. Thank you.